Samashki. The word in Chechen means the place of deer. To me, it meant the horror of war. The place is indelibly carved on my memory. I was inside a killing zone and have never been so frightened in my life. I was there as the farm town was turned into the symbol of Russian brutality when Moscow tried to reassert what it called constitutional order. I often wondered if I'd get out alive. The waiting is over. We'll just see how long the defenders can hold this town and if I can get my ass out at the end of it. I'd like to remind anybody who happens to be viewing this that this is a surrounded town. I managed to escape before the final assault and found myself on the Russian side of the lines. I was perfectly and horribly positioned to see people I had known stumble out of their burning town.
Трупы даже нету, там мертвые лежат, не разберемся, кто там, мужчина, женщина. Там одни вот такие.
Nearly 200 people were killed. It was the worst massacre of the Chechen War. I was haunted by the experience and vowed to return to find who among my many friends were alive or dead. In going back, I had to steel myself to face the physical and psychological scars carved by the knife of war. The aftermath is often more cruel than the moment. It had been almost 2 years since the massacre. The Russian soldiers may have gone, but their signature of destruction is everywhere to be seen. Samashki was used as a test firing range for artillery shells and vacuum bombs. It is a miracle that anyone survived the onslaught. I went to the graveyard to look for fallen friends. I was shocked to see how many fighters had died, their graves marked by flagpoles, lest future generations forget their sacrifice. That first night back, I attended a zikr, a ritual dance of remembrance for the dead. This was the first time I had seen the village elders and youth perform it together. During the war, the elders tried to surrender Samashki to the Russians, while the youth wanted to fight on. Now the war is over, and with no outside aid or international assistance, unity is required to rebuild. Shattered homes have become quarries, and bricks salvaged from the rubble, the building blocks of the future. Strangely, many people were surprised to find me alive.
Уже тут все говорили, что да, вот Томаса поймали, короче, расстреляли там, да, вот. Значит, жить долго будешь.
Еще не включен, да?
Работает.
Ну вы же почти 2 года здесь вот с нами, здесь находитесь. Я думал, вы потерялись.
It was almost as if I were a prodigal son returned. I found children back in school using old Russian textbooks.
Весь город был в руках большевиков. Большевиков, да.
Judging by their art, the children have been through hell. There were other changes too. This woman had broken the new law that prohibits trafficking alcohol. Theoretically, she could have been flogged, but instead only lost some 50 bottles. Islam may have come to Samashki, but the town is not completely dry. At a wedding reception that same evening, vodka flowed freely. I could scarcely believe my eyes and ears. Old friends were coming out of the woodwork to say hello. People dancing, people smiling and laughing. Samashki, a town synonymous with destruction and sorrow, seemed to have come back to life. The only thing to do was join in and celebrate. But something nagged at me. I had still not learned of the fate of the Samashki commander, Hussein. He had sheltered me during the darkest days of the siege and even made my escape possible. You might say I owe him my life. I went to his house and found his father and brother hard at work loading potatoes. To my delight and relief, they told me Hussein had survived the assault, but was at present out of town. The last time I was here, I helped him pull a rocket warhead out of the ground and push it up a truck. I may as well do the potatoes now. But my mood changed abruptly when they told me Hussein could not return. The village elders had branded him a traitor and said he had been working for the Russians all along.
Старики с деревни, старики приходили домой, говорили, чтобы он уезжал, как будто это он здесь войну сделал в Самашках. Он-то не хотел уезжать. Я знаю, как он уезжал, как он не хотел уезжать. Я никогда не поверю, чтобы брат мой старший нацию свою, чтобы он предал.
I was staggered. The man I had seen mount devastating raids on Russian armor accused of collaboration with the enemy? I had to learn the truth. When Hussein left Chechnya, he traveled 3,000 miles east to the village of Nadejdovka in Kazakhstan. I went there to find him. Ironically, this area is where Stalin had banished the Chechens in 1944, unjustly accusing them of collaboration with the Nazi enemy. I found Hussein on a broken-down collective farm.
Томас, пойдем. Поехали. Поехали. Это когда-то было хорошее место, Томас.
Прекрасное место.
Очень хорошее место было. О, там была столовая, там.
Hussein knew about the charge of collaboration. He dismissed it as disinformation spread by the elders. He said they were cowards who had forced him to abandon the people he had vowed to defend. But he saved his real rage for the Russians. Under failing lights, he told me how drunken soldiers had attacked Samashki to the music of Shostakovich.
Вот эта музыка была включенная, полная мощность. Под эту музыку это село убивали. Это не людей убивали, село убивали, Томас. Первый раз я видел, как убивает село.
Hussein is now plotting his revenge against the Russians who murdered his people to music and the Chechens who tarnished his name. He showed me his arsenal, including a heavy machine gun customized for mobile use. His son Ruslan has become an expert marksman with the weapon and ready to avenge his father's honor.
Немножко готовились тоже туда. Вот это все не кончилось еще. Там. Это только передышка, перерыв.
Hussein is going back to Samashki, and he is not going alone. During our last evening together, I was reacquainted with a number of men I had met before, hardcore veterans of the Samashki front. All had been branded with the same charge of collaboration. It was all too depressing. Betrayal. But who was the betrayer and who the betrayed in this case? Samashki or Hussein? His rejection by his own people had turned into a bitter rage. The invisible scars in his soul still bleeding. As I left him, I had to wonder and worry about the process of reconciliation and reconstruction in Samashki, and indeed, in Chechnya as a whole. The war is not over. Perhaps it has just begun.